same sentence.
I see no problem with that. Just call me in order to go over discussion items and let's go. It's baseball season.
Yeah, that's, so it must be raining.
Yes.
Is anybody else gonna be coming from your email?
Okay.
Marlo said he was going to, but.
Okay,
And
heard that, yeah.
not on the Zoom.
We gotta have 5 people, don't we? To have a quorum.
Is it out of the complete number of,
Out of the, it's gotta be greater than 50% of the number of people that are on the commission.
but there we only have 7 on the commission? Nine, because we're missing 2.
Is there 7 position, Phil?
Over half and before.
4, yeah.
So if there's 7,
so quorum is 4, you have 4.
we're good.
Thanks a lot, Jacob.
Thanks for showing up.
Now he's gonna have to be vice chair. I'll go.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we're recording yet? No.
Yes.
I hear you. Okay.
I call us to order. First item is approval of minutes. Anybody have any things they want to tell Melissa?
Regarding this.
Yes, should qualify. Everybody okay with it?
Make a motion.
Make a motion?
We accept the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay, second, anybody second? You made a motion, you second, you already made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion, I seconded then, I guess.
Okay.
All in
All
favor?
in favor?
Aye.
Can I have my roll? All in
Doing
favor?
your spotlight.
Aye. Okay, visitor comments, do we have anybody here who wants to speak?
Sir, my name's Nicholas Helmick. I did apply for one of the vacant spots here, but that's not why I'm talking. I was an avid disc golf player and on the McCormick Disc Golf Course on hole number 9. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but there was a tree that had collapsed. It's actually arching over like past about 50 feet past the tee pad, and it seems pretty precarious, and I'd hate to have that kind of fall, maybe hit a citizen. And then on hole number 5, there's a tree that's leaning and I can actually see the roots coming up out of the ground. So I'm just thinking maybe another windstorm or something might kind of push it over the edge, that's all. And I'd be willing to help out a couple chainsaws, so if it's needed, definitely willing to get dirty and kind of help out with that. And also just maintaining the disc golf course, I think it's a potentially good revenue stream for the city with how professional level it is and getting more, I guess, tournaments out here. So, but that's all I have.
It is golf.
What's your last name?
Helmick, Hellmich.
It is golf, so there are hazards.
Yes, right.
I've never played disc golf.
There are 3 trees today that were down.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Three were down, don't know about the leaning one, but we'll definitely look into it, and just to make sure I'm right, hole number 9, 50 feet past the tee area.
Yeah, it was like a really dead one that you can see, and then there's a little bit past it, it's just kind of arching over the whole thing. Does make a nice little like obstacle, just don't want that obstacle to fall.
Right. And then hole number 5 is the leaning tree.
Yeah, that's the one that's an elevated hole kind of path, and it's leaning over, and other trees are kind of helping it out there, stay up. So,
Thanks for showing up, letting us know.
You're off, you have free lessons, right?
yeah, oh yeah, free lessons. It may not be the best lessons, but definitely free of charge.
Just so you know, that's Buck.
Okay, oh yeah, but we've texted each other before. Yeah,
Do you have my info
I
or?
think I'll just take it just in case, yeah. Thank you.
He's the best one for park. Emergency maintenance, is that what he's called about? Maintenance period?
This gave me approval to drop all those bark chips off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, great. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody on Zoom? Okay. All right, next thing is new business. Howard, you're up.
Now he'll report, okay?
You need a second there.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Caroline got busy, I was gonna have her narrate. So. Black and grab my glasses, so will I be able to read what the screen says?
Oh, here's Paul too.
Oh, Paul's here now.
Give me a second to let Paul in. Over here.
He's 2 months now. So. He can sleep. Yeah, he's actually sleeping for about 3 or 4, almost 5 hours now at a time. He's eating less and less at night, and then he's trying to get used to filling that gap.
All right, I'm finally here, guys.
Fancy ones.
We're just having trouble getting signed in, so sorry.
Actually, I'm very lucky that the PowerPoint Carolyn put it all together, so I'll have to.
Mikey.
You might go without it, Howard.
Uh-oh.
You gotta ad lib.
On the 3 minutes.
You have 15 seconds left.
Uh-oh.
That was 4 minutes ago.
Come on. Come on.
Well, all you need is a driver, a mid-range, and a putter, the 3 discs. Actually, the Scappoose Bay has a starter pack. It's like
Okay.
$40. Yeah, and I actually have some discs. I could probably just kick down.
No, I have no problem buying a starter pack.
You want a lower speed driver, because if you're just starting out, if you get the higher speed ones, it gets discouraging because it won't go that far. So if you have a slower speed disc, then it'll turn over more and then kind of do its thing. There's a lot of nuances, like anything you can get into, but there's different numbers for every disc. So higher speed means it'll go further. Then there's turn and fade. So turn is when you first throw, it'll go to the right, and then fade back to the left, and then glide is another option. So some of them, they'll poke like my golf slice, just super hard, and some will just go super straight. So it just depends on your style.
Okay. Here you go, Howard.
Makes that up to make sure that I can read what it says.
Tried to make it big for you.
Well, I should have grabbed my glasses off. Okay, well, this is about Nob Hill Nature Park, our annual report on it. We have about 7 acres, and then we've got the 5th Street right-of-way trail. And you can probably go to the next slide if you want. These are a couple of the many tools that we use. The top tool is called a weed wrench. And I've actually added another piece of wood underneath it, and it actually will grab things. This one's got almost a 4-foot bar. So when you lock onto something, you can actually yank Scotch broom and stuff out, take all the roots and everything else. We also do holly with it. And then at the bottom is one of our newest tools that was given to us, and it's called a root slayer. If you've never seen one of those shovels, it's really incredible. It's got a V-notch in the front, and the sides of it are serrated, so it works really great for going through tree roots or whatever you're trying to do. I've actually even used it as a blackberry smasher to get in through the blackberries to get to something where we use the other thing. Okay, some of the native species that we have in native species, Japanese privet. Okay, well, those are mixed up just a hair. The Japanese privet is a hedge that actually that's a non-native that we're working on getting rid of in the park. We've got rid of some that was on 3rd Street over the last few years, and we have a bunch. If you ever go on the 4th Street trailhead, at the beginning, there's a bunch of Japanese privet that we've been working on. So there's a couple of piles in that area. And then, of course, you've got your standard trillium, your fawn lilies, prairie stars, biscuit root, the trillium and fawn lilies and checker lilies. You go on the next one are starting to break the surface now. Then we've got the coastal wood ferns in there. And a lot of the camas is coming up. We've been knocking back some of the larger clumps of grasses that are invading some of our camas meadows, trying to get the camas to be in there more than the clumps of grass. It is amazing on how some of the camas bulbs are so small. Where we're putting in our next bench, when we dug down, we were finding so many camas bulbs that were like the grain of a piece of rice. And we were sifting through it to save all those precious little camas bulbs. And there's Japanese privet again. These are the non-native Japanese privet hedge, privet berries, that could be told you. The berries, once again, birds eat them and drop them around. And of course, we've got the English ivy, which we don't really have any except one spot growing on a tree in the park, which is really hard. Someday I'd love to find somebody who has some rappelling skills to be able to go over the edge to get the girdle this one tree that we just can't. It's really hard to get to. And also, once again, the English ivy is spread a lot by the berries. Okay, you can go on to the next. Left is some of us all at the different work parties that we've had. Thinking that one on the left, that may actually be when we were cutting down some of the non-native cherry trees. And then there's a picture of our spring work party. And then during the summertime, we do a lot of watering in there. We have a hose spigot that the city gave us so that we can get water. So quite frequently, weekends we'll fill up a dozen or so water jugs and then water around and plant water things that we've recently planted. We'll also use that spigot sometimes to fill. I have a 55-gallon drum, and sometimes I'll drive to a high point and then run out 100 feet of hose. Takes about 20 minutes to half an hour to drain out a 55-gallon drum of water, but that's still easier than wheeling it always. And then I guess that's a picture of Caroline standing somewhere after one of our work sessions. Or another one. And once again, wow, Caroline gets some good photos.
Yeah, she does.
I put this together, not Carol.
Did you? Oh, thank you. Here's someone else. Thank you, Melissa. Credit's gotta go where credit's supposed to go. Thank you, Melissa. Where did you get that, Melissa?
That's just a stock photo I found.
Just a thought. Oh, that is very cute. So, I mean, once again, I do want to give credit to Caroline for putting together this stuff for me to be able to just read. We do have our semi-annual work party coming up the first Saturday in April. We're waiting for Buck to be putting in another little, I put in the gravel for a new bench pad, so hopefully over the next month or so, that'll be getting closer to having a bench there. That'll be our 5th bench in the park, so we've they're kind of nicely spaced out about every 150 to 200 feet. We have a nice bench that looks out to a nice view so that you can rest your weary bones. I don't know, been having a lot of deer trails popping up, and then there's a lot of deer in there this year. So it's incredible to see all the deer trails that are coming in. So I guess that's probably about it. I guess I can let us keep on moving. We're gonna have a nice short meeting today, I hope.
All right, so now we're on to old business. Howard, you're up.
This is probably gonna go real quick too, because I think the legislature, didn't they pass the bill about clarifying in parks, there was the liability issue. I think that everyone here heard about the liability issue in our parks. Somebody sued and said it was recreating, and then the one went to the state Supreme Court, and it didn't look good for parks and stuff, that the lady was saying she wasn't recreating and she walked across a bridge and slipped walking her dogs. You know, that she was using it just to go from one place to another. But I believe that the state did pass a bill now that limits more of the liability of that. So it was just.
I saw that in the paper.
Yeah.
Where I got the impression that they changed it.
Yeah, but we were getting very worried about it because a lot of municipalities were actually thinking that they were gonna have to close off a lot of hiking trails. Because of, you know, of the words of what is recreation in a city park, you know, so. But I think they took care of that, so. So we're done with that. Yeah, moving it right along for you.
Well, I had to add a couple of things to the old business that I didn't get to Melissa, because it was an oversight on my behalf. I just wanted to update on Heine Human. We met out there, Howard and Paul, and Buck and Roger and Melissa from the senior center. We all went out there. Appreciate you all coming out, have a fun outing. And, looking at it, we were first discussing, doing a trail down there. And then Roger was out there, he's thought that a ramp attached to the building itself would probably be an easier way of doing it. So it sounds pretty expensive. When I first started thinking about this, I was thinking about a trail within the park. And when I speak with Melissa, kind of discussed it and then looked at possible trail or a ramp down to there and maybe an overlook, a deck. But there is already a small deck there and that doesn't seem to be used that much. I'm just concerned with a ramp, building a ramp, putting all those resources to that, it wouldn't be utilized that much. So then Roger was also wondering about that. We're talking about maybe putting a parking spot down by the park and putting a trail off to there. But then again, I mean, I'm just wondering about if, even then, if how much that would be used for the cost of doing something like that. I'm just not sure. It's, I've been wanting to, I'm chopping at the bit. A lot of us are to get things done, do things. And it might be overreach. So I just wanted to put that out to you guys, see what you thought about it and go from there.
I think the idea of trails and rather than spending something to just be for the senior center to get into there, something that would have a good possible ADA trail of paved or concrete would be really good. That one is kind of underused and there's nothing except wet grass in there this time of the year and mud to walk in.
But you can also say that, there's something to be said about having just a park set aside with big trees and really not disturbed.
Cause you have that. Yeah. Right through the middle of it. So how would you go over that?
I think you guys were talking about putting a pipe through there for drainage.
Oh, I couldn't hear him very well. Is he talking about the open ditch?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is plans in the work to hard pipe that.
And you have the dog park there. My mother-in-law lives over there, so I don't see a whole lot of people in that park.
Yeah.
We're at the dog park. Maybe once in a while you'll see some kids playing in the leaves.
Yeah, we had last year with the native plants. Still looking to do, set aside a little area to fence off and so they can,
Then you have the community garden right there too.
yeah. So I'm not 100% sure about, the best way forward. It is part of the master plan, doing a path through there, but then I'm thinking, well, in about 5 years' time, when it starts cracking and nobody's using it, people will be looking at
Right.
what the hell were they thinking of, type of thing. So,
I appreciate you drawing attention to it though.
yeah. So I think I'm gonna make a recommendation to Jenny saying we had considered this and I don't think there's a good way forward about it.
I just don't know if we put one in there, if it'd get used, like you said. I don't think it would.
So that's where I wanted to go with that. Just if you have any other thoughts, you can always text me or email me or yell at me, doesn't matter.
I know like the park in McCormick, the trail in McCormick gets used quite a bit. And McCormick's just right down the street.
Yeah,
A lot of people walk through the McCormick Park.
Yeah.
It's just golf and all that area.
It's a nice walk.
well, that can lead to a segue to the next thing I want to talk about. The port property and the city property along Knowlton Creek, looking to do that. The trail through there also, we have established a subcommittee last time about the Milton Creek Reserve, I believe the name we came up with on that. Again, I've been out there a couple more times on there, traipsing around just last weekend with Patrick and a meeting with Sean Clark this Thursday with the port executive director to discuss, what they think about the whole thing. It's just initial contact, see where we can go from that. And also want to talk about applications we have these 2 applications. I think we should just continue with our, the people that we already have going for the interview committee, continue with that one since we didn't get any from the last time batch of supposed interviews that didn't come to fruition. So if anybody, I'm not sure who was on that committee.
Me,
I know.
and Dana?
If there's a way.
Yeah, I was on the committee
We
too.
wanna, yeah, we wanna,
I think they're trying to get a hold of the applicants and know.
yeah, that, I know, that's it. But, now we got them on the hook, we wanna draw them in.
So that would be my question
Should we
is,
apply?
is there a?
Well, he's already applied, so,
Yeah, interview set up if we.
What are we asking?
Oh,
well, I'm just trying to get that going so we can set up interviews.
So you want to keep,
Keep it.
so even though you have 2 applicants, you want to keep asking more people, so you.
No, I wanna just have our, continue with our committee for the interview process. If it-
They already have 2 interviews lined up for next week.
Okay, but is, Lynn gonna be able to?
Yeah, she's going to start the process.
All right, I just wanna make sure we're,
what day is it next week?
okay,
What day next week?
Well, please.
it's good for you to know that.
I have games on
I
Wednesday and Tuesday.
assumed she got a hold of you.
Who's gonna be at this meeting Thursday? I'd like to be there, but I can't.
There's Patrick, Burkle, me, and
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not next week, it's April 2nd.
Okay. I think I have a game on April 1st.
it's pretty much all I wanted to add from,
So hopefully then if it's April 2nd, that's before our meeting, so that we'll have results at the next meeting, so hopefully meeting after that, we can do that.
yeah. And we should also, discuss maybe the reasons why we had, these resignations, people who've come and been on the committee for just a couple months, so there was, 6 months and then resign. I'm not sure what's going on. Talk about a dynamic to welcome aboard, kind of.
At least Nicholas is getting a feel for us before he.
So he's never gonna, yeah, well, he's gonna skip out on his interview. Yeah.
I think sometimes.
We are the cool
don't
guys.
understand it.
See, Buck, there's a method to the madness.
Because I think sometimes people understand that it beats a chore and then they realize that that starts to become a hard thing. So that's always my question, you know, the problem with it.
No, I live 2 blocks away, and I mean, I have a child now, so I can always use that as an excuse to get off work early and then. If I need to.
Yeah, I tried to get off work early, no, but.
And Zoom is always available too, I assume, right? So I work at community action team, so it's not far at all.
It was just like with Brian, just knew he's kind of wavering on us, and that's why nothing against you, I want to get him involved. It's just too little, too late when we were forming the subcommittee about that. Nothing against Jacob whatsoever. I believe,
Sit down, it's personal.
I think Jerry has something also,
Well, I guess it probably would go under discussion items, but really doesn't make any difference.
full business.
Yeah, let's just do. old business. So last time we asked about budget items and I asked that, we get a concrete stamp. Since then, I've met with Buck. And one of the things we discussed was pouring the concrete pads. And he says that he has, for a better term, the street paint that's very durable. And it can also visible. It's also very visible.
Glass beads in it, so it's reflective.
So besides, getting a concrete stamp, Buck and I think it's a better idea. I mean, Howard has a say in it too, and so does Dana, and so does Lynn. But we should, what our thinking was, we just pour the concrete pad and then stencil on top of it, and then all of the markings for the urban trail would be the same. They'd be white. And they'd probably have to be painted every 5 or 6 years, but this paint is really pretty durable.
Yeah, with no
Would it make it-
traffic on it from vehicles, it probably lasts longer than that.
Would it make the graffiti stand out?
Yeah.
The second thing I wanted to just mention, yesterday I went for a walk. And I happened to walk up to where we proposed the Columbia View overlook. And, you know, I guess I've never really stood there and just kind of looked at it, but, I think we did really a good thing by saving that spot. I mean, it might be 10 years or 20 years or whatever before it ever really gets to be developed as an overlook. But it really is a beautiful view up there.
Yeah, it's something that I think we should continually
Yeah.
bring up again and again, just so it doesn't get forgotten about and get under threat again.
It's like I always say too, we don't have these visions set aside these pieces for something future may not happen in our lifetime. But if we don't have it out there, then it will probably never happen, but eventually there's gonna be a need.
Just like the trail, you know, that Lynn and I know you're really into, and I think is a fantastic idea. You know, the trail that you're gonna look at Thursday down on Milton Creek where all the, you know, Doug fir trees are. I mean, that's a beautiful area, and in 40, 50 years when we're long gone, you know. That would be great for the people of St. Helens. Okay, the third thing is what I really wanted to talk about. And I don't want people to think that I'm negative here. Okay?
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna call this meeting adjourned?
Because what I want to discuss, because last time we had, you know, Brad Hendrickson, who is part owner of the St. Helens Sand Island Oregon LLC. He came here and he talked about it. And a number of years ago, when we talked about the relationship between the LLC and the city of St. Helens, I was 100% for it, and I am still 100% for it. But I do see maybe some unforeseen consequences of what took place. So when we first did this, the city of St. Helens, and they still don't have the resources to take care of Sand Island. Okay, so if Brad Hendrickson and his company wasn't doing that, Sand Island wouldn't be what it is right now. Okay, so you can keep it clean. He deals with behavioral problems. You know, in the summertime, he has a shuttle so people can go back and forth. And we also get 10% of the gross income of this. So there's lots of positive things in this. But after we had the meeting last time, you know, I read the agreement between the city and the LLC, what's it called? The St. Helens Sand Island Oregon LLC, which Brad is half owner of it, is my understanding, or him and another guy were partners with another guy. And the concern I have is, and when we first did this, I didn't see this, you know, we didn't have anything to do with the agreement. You know, we just said, hey, we think this is a great idea. The city attorneys and the city staff, they dealt with all this. But where I'm going with this is the thing that really got me concerned is when Brad says, hey, you know, we're gonna build cabins down there. Okay. You know, probably a great idea. In some respects, I think it's really a great idea they build cabins down there. But this is kind of where I see the unforeseen consequences. And this is more, not for us, this is really more for the city council to think about, in my opinion. So one, can they build on the island, but cabins on the island, you know, is it in a floodplain? I know in 92, the island was totally covered. So I assume that it's probably, you know, in a floodplain. So, two, this is the big thing that I see. So when the contract is up between the LLC and the city of St. Helens, there's going to be an independent appraiser who's going to go and appraise everything that's on the property. Okay, so we got the campsites, okay, we got the toilets, that's okay. The water system that's going in, I think that's a great idea. But if we go down there, and if they can build cabins there, so the LLC, the St. Helens Sand Island Oregon LLC, they build the cabins. So when the time for the contract is up, the city has to buy these cabins back. So,
And there's, in addition, they have to pay whatever is called goodwill for the thing. They have a different terminology for it. It is a business and whatever that business, whatever goodwill they create with their business, that's an additional funds that have to be paid for that too.
okay, I'm not a lawyer or a businessman, but I just, so one thing, can they build these in the floodplain? The other thing, if the city, first they have to buy these back, and I don't know what a cabin costs, but I assume that a cabin is a lot. I know with Dave, I was up in Longview today, and some people were talking about parks there where they put in a toilet there. And it was $350,000 that the state of Washington gave to put this toilet in. That seems like a lot of money for a toilet, but be that as it may, but that's in Washington, not here. But if they build a cabin, I have no idea. So should the planning commission, should the city planning councils, should they allow
I think they have already, haven't they?
St. Helens,
Being
San,
built right now, aren't they?
well, this is not for me to decide. I'm just saying, this is my concern.
Uh-huh.
The city can do with it what they want. Because by the time this happens, I'm gonna be dead in 10 years probably.
It's not good next year.
This
It could be next year.
This
So
was a really depressing meeting with all this.
So,
Not, Iron.
so let's say that, there's 5 cabins or 10 cabins. That could run into $1 million or $2 million. So then the city has to buy those back. And then the city doesn't have the means right now to take care of the island now. So are they gonna run the shuttle? Are they gonna run it? Are they gonna get another vendor to take that over? These cabins also will need maintenance. They're also, in my opinion, before we did this, the other thing I failed to mention was there used to be boats that used to dock there all the time. And Brad has monitored that so people aren't staying there for weeks or months in their boats. There's a lot of good things that's come from this. So I see, this is something that I can see unforeseen consequences that the city could have if they allow a bunch of cabins to be built down there. They're gonna own these cabins. It's quite a deal. The St. Helens Sand Island, Oregon LLC is gonna build these cabins. And then when the contract is over with, the city has to buy them back from them.
Unless they renew the contract.
Or unless they-
Let them. keep-
Well, that's.
They have one there, either one, like, if he just said, you know what, we're done.
Yeah, they can stop and then have one extra, they can extend it once.
So I'm done with my concern because I just wanted to get that out there. But I think that the city council, they need to look into this a little bit. And can they actually build, and the other question is, can they actually build cabins there? I would think that, in a floodplain, if we have a flood like we did in 92, they're gonna be gone.
Well, it's within the city's boundaries, so it'd have to go through a planning.
It has already.
But he said he went through Mike DeRoy, so Mike,
Yeah,
let him build it.
Yeah.
Legal.
I think it's gone through the planning commission already,
yeah, I would imagine, so it'd have to be,
over a year ago. I
plus,
think they're building them right now.
plus John, when we were talking about last time, John seemed to have an idea that, yes, we're gonna have to buy them back. And he's already I got the feeling that he'd already had determined that that was part of the process. They've already been thinking about that.
Well, with the maintenance, with people's, using the ones in the off season, the city not having the ability to take care of, maybe in 5 years or 10 years, the city will have the means to do this. But I just think that, the city really needs to think about, the long-term consequences of allowing cabins to be built there. And then having to buy them back. It's not like, it's not like, us buy a house. We don't have to buy the house. The city, when the contract is over, the city has to buy those back. And it could be, millions of dollars. And then what is the city gonna do with them? Like I said, do they want to get another vendor? Do they want to operate the same way? I just think that, that this is kind of my thinking on it is that, if there was yurts there, they were, the LLC's yurts, that when it's time to go, that, you know, they go. I don't really like the idea of, like personally, I just don't like the idea of the permanent cabins being there with the city being on the hook for it.
Is it, did you say
I'd like
there's
to
something,
see it,
did you
know,
say there's
after the
something that
contract
says,
expires,
is my
maybe
mic not
hire
on?
somebody into public works specifically to manage that.
Oh, apparently my mic's not on.
And you still, I
Okay.
mean, you get some type of return too.
I don't think they're talking about ever necessarily ending the contract with these people right now.
Oh, you guys can't hear me?
I wouldn't guess on that.
Well, from what it reads in the contract, they have their 10-year period and they can renew for another 10-year period, if I recall.
No, I think it's 5 and 5.
One renewal
I thought it was 5 and
on the
5.
contract.
Yeah, then after that renewal, they could renegotiate, keep right on going and.
Yeah, but nobody's getting any younger over there, just like everybody else, so eventually your time is up when you wanna go out and drive nails and fix buildings and do all this stuff all the time, I mean.
Yeah.
You have a little bit of burnout after a while.
You guys can't hear
I
me?
just think that
No?
I just think that the city needs to, you know, maybe rethink this a little bit. And if they really want to do it, I mean, that's why we have, you know, city council. To, you know, to make that.
I think I think we're beyond any type of asking the city to think about it because it's happening right now.
Well, I'm just surprised that they can actually be built on the island because it's in a flood, because I think it's in a floodplain. I mean, I-
That's part of it, the boundaries, I just looked it up on FEMA, the middle part isn't, but the like, I guess, sorry to interrupt, I apologize.
That's fine.
But like basically this whole sand area is, and kind of like where the police station's being built, there's about an orange ring that has a 1% annual chance. But the main middle part is not actually the floodplain, this is all regulatory flood
Is
zone,
that 100-year flood or 500?
100-year.
Well, in 92, the island was covered.
Yeah.
500 years ago.
2092, no, I'm just kidding.
500 years out from then.
But part of it is, not all of it, but that's still, I can see the issue.
I mean, that's not, I mean, I know what I just brought up is not the Parks and Trails
Well,
Committee.
I think it is because it's.
Oh, you guys,
It's
you guys can't hear me?
something that we Should be commenting on.
I think it's a great idea.
nobody can hear me.
You get in the contract at any time, the city's on the hook.
Apparently.
Yeah,
And I think that for the yurts, or that the things were built out there, that since it's in park, we should have known about it.
yeah, there's,
It was going to the planning.
Yeah, see, none of this was brought to our,
No.
that's why I said, you know, we had, I've been asking for a year at least to have a meeting, you know, and finally it did happen.
It was a good meeting. I'm glad he finally came, but yeah, like you said, Jerry, a year ago we asked.
Yeah, or more, yeah,
Or more.
yeah.
I don't think Brad was dodging us though.
No, I don't think,
No,
no.
We'll make that clear.
Well, no, I think what they're doing there is, you know, other than the cabins is really good for everyone. I think the cabins, there's some real unforeseen consequences there, financial and otherwise for the city.
Are you finished?
I'm dead, right?
with your numbers?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then, staff report.
So, as everybody knows, baseball season's pretty much here. And softball. So that means everybody wants on the field, it's soaking wet. Not much we can do about it, we can't even get on them yet, I know you want turf.
Oh, we're getting it. High school's getting it.
Who is?
The high school,
They are?
yes. We're
Congratulations.
getting a turf varsity field and a turf softball field.
You donate the money for that?
I wish.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a baseball field?
Yeah, we're getting a turf field, they're gonna start putting it in,
Where?
where the varsity field is now. They're gonna start construction, I think, at the end of May.
So we've been doing repairs to sheds, all parks, repairing the roofs to the sheds, they were garbage basically, so we're working on that. Other things, the zip line is still down at McCormick Park, we're waiting on the cable for that. And we're trying to figure out why the cable failed twice already in the short amount of time it's there. They have a new, I don't know what his title actually is, but with the company that, the playground came from, the new one at McCormick, he's with them, he's the new rep. He came out and talked with Cameron about it. It was, pretty disappointed in our play structure. Not the quality of the equipment, quality of the installation. He looked down on that a lot. He wasn't impressed at the min. That cable, he said, should have lasted 10, 15 years, even with the stretching and tightening it and everything else. It shouldn't be burring like it is, so we're trying to figure out what's going on there. So that is closed basically for safety and because it's full of water, which is another thing that we're trying to figure out is how to get that to drain, so the chips don't all float away. But we do have a lot of punch lists in the parks right now, which I call as our action items. We started a playground inspection process, which I believe we probably should have had a long time ago, but Corey and the guys went to a training, they got trained, they learned how to do these things. This is kind of our quick inspection form, if you guys want to look at it for. Just so you know, so what we're doing is, we're doing it quarterly right now. We're gonna see how that goes. If we want to do them more, we're gonna do them more. I don't think we'll do them any less, just because it's the safety of the kids. And we did find a lot of stuff, like the new playground. Every section that is put together should be what they call pinned, which is basically through bolted, but it's not really a bolt because it has to be smooth so it doesn't snag. And all the equipment at McCormick Playground was put together and not pinned. It's illegal. Been that way since it was installed, and that guy saw that and was like, I can't leave until I fix this. So he went through no charge and pinned all of them and made them legit. One of the spinning, I don't know what it's called, it's like a merry-go-round thing, has a 4-foot concrete block under it. I saw him pour it. It's now sitting twisted, so the bearings, it's steel on steel on one side, it screams loud. It's gonna be a big undertaking to pull it out of there and replace it and get it to stabilize. The compaction wasn't right, the concrete methods weren't right. The guy that was there thought it was terrible.
How long ago was it installed?
How long ago was that playground installed?
Yeah.
Was that half ago, 2 years? Yeah, 2 or 3, I'd say.
Who's the company that installed it?
I have the information that
Could they be contacted?
they have been contacted and all the warranty stuff's up.
There was.
We check on that on everything. Some items are a little bit different. And we did have some confusion with the old rep, kind of gave us some info saying, people were making copycat items and selling them for cheaper with their tag on them. And he was afraid that we might have got some of that. This guy doesn't really think so, unless they did a really good job of. Yeah. So that's kind of an issue, and that's kind of a big deal on why we're starting to do these inspections. And also, some of our stuff is super old, like the swings and some of the parks. I mean, geez, they're older than me. And the chips, we're gonna be bringing in a whole bunch of chips probably next week and refilling everything, because you know they get kicked out under swings, they get washed away with rain. The urban trail walk with Jerry and Howard and everybody went really well, I thought. And I did meet with Dana, and we talked about the stencil and the stamp, and now we're down to just a stencil for right now, like Jerry said. And I haven't seen the drawings yet or anything from her, so I hope to get those soon. It just kind of one more step on our little way, but it's nice that something's actually happening, it seems like.
Can I say one thing about, if we get a stencil, would it be wise to have 2 of them made at the same time? Because I know that
Yeah,
a
probably.
few years ago when I was trying to spray a stencil that just said keep out of a parking lot, that started getting really slimy quickly, even though it's being dried fast. It's
If I
like,
get like a 120 mil or higher stencil, it'll last a lot longer. You know, it's not gonna be as flimsy, but
yeah,
it shouldn't be a big deal.
okay.
I also met with John Walsh and Mayor Scholl at McCormick Park, and it was to discuss 13 nights going to McCormick Park due to construction down here. Which gonna be a bummer for me, but it's gotta go somewhere. So the discussion was the parking and 13 nights parking, and then softball's gonna be the same night, so you're gonna have that side pretty full with softball players. If there's any disc golf, weather's good, there's usually disc golfers there too, so we've got to go back and forth with that, and we don't want to just push groups out to where they can't utilize the park the way they're utilizing it now. But we think we've got a pretty good line on it. We might have to limit the vendors a little bit to save parking, which it's 1 year, it's construction year. I mean, it is what it is. So, but the issue is with the power down there. We need to add and get more power. If they plugged in 3 of these vendors down there and had a band going, they're gonna blow it. The breakers, it's just not designed for that. So we're in the process. Mayor Scholl and Mike Sykes at the PUD are in discussions, and I believe that there's, I don't know if it's a grant or what it is. It's like PUD doing the city a favor as a good neighbor type of thing, but they are, it sounds like we might be able to get a pretty good deal on adding 50 amp feeds out there, which we got a bid from it a year and a half ago, and it was like $12,000, I believe. But it sounds like it could be reduced drastically with this, so we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep you informed. Also had a Citizens Day in the Park meeting. That was our first one, and we'll have a few more, but it's not gonna be quite like last year where it was a whole bunch of city workers and it sounds bad, city employees doing it. We're trying to get the council to be way more involved, and they stepped up at the meeting and they went through the list of everything, and Brandon was there, and they all decided what they were gonna do, how they were gonna help out. So it really looks like it's gonna take a big workload off of city employees, which is a good thing. We'll still be there to help set up, help clean, and hopefully be involved in it. But yeah, so that ball's rolling and that's going good. The only other thing I really have is I just made this list. There's just a few of them, and this isn't everything that we have going right now. It just kind of highlights some of the tasks that we've got on our whiteboard right now and on our list to take care of.
I was hoping.
What was that?
That's just like a summary of what's on my whiteboard in my office. It's our list of things to do. And that of course isn't everything. We have pretty soon, once we get on these fields with mowers, we're gonna be mowing all day long, every day, so.
For the rest of the year?
Pretty.
The 13 nights, when do you expect that? I need to put out the bids again. Not, I think last week. For Columbia View.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is that they contacted me and talked to me about it, and we're trying to get more power in there to do it, so I don't know. On Walsham, were the contacts for that. And I don't know what Tina knows or Tina doesn't know, so I haven't really talked to her.
Jackson.
She may know.
Just that's for.
Yeah, I know she's around, but I haven't really spoken with her.
What do you mean?
Right, then you're finished. Buck?
I'll get one quick question for you, Bob.
We're on to something else here, Robert.
The team was here, it's a Salt Lake slides, $112 a piece. Oh, sensitive area signs, okay, I see that down there. So we're gonna get some of those eventually.
We're gonna work on it, yeah.
What?
We're gonna work on it, yeah. I'm going to try to probably bundle it in with Lynn's, because I think the more you order, probably the cheaper it is. One other thing that just came to my attention magically was we'll be having to move park reservations, probably have 13 nights there too, so. I don't know if Thursday night's a big hot ticket usually for reservations in the park, but it could affect a few people.
I'm already getting a lot of reservations for June for graduation parties,
Oh,
so.
that might be something people actually think too. Hey, 13 nights is there, let's reserve the gazebo. I didn't even think of that. Then they could have their own little section.
That's what I'm saying, we might have to block out the
So,
whole park.
yeah, that might be no reservations available in the park for that. Otherwise, I think that could happen. Which is a good idea.
13 nights on the creek.
Yeah.
Went from the river to the creek.
Oh, I can see people falling in the creek.
Yeah.
Didn't see anybody fall in the river. I'm sure it might have happened, but I didn't see it.
With the chain link fence,
Stop there.
with the chain link fence though, so. Got that. All right, counselors report?
Right, so not a lot, but just to expound on that a little bit. So part of the concerns too with down here is not just what's gonna be going on in the park, but what's gonna be going on around it. So there's gonna be a lot of construction going on the Strand, also here on First Street, so there's not gonna be a whole lot of parking downtown either. So and then the county's got some construction projects that are gonna be going on at the same time, so.
You wanna
I think
wear
that
your
was,
slippers?
again, part of the reason why they're looking at other options. And right now, I don't think anything's set in stone, so I'll be hearing more about it. Buck mentioned a few of the things I wanted to talk about, the Citizens Day, so they are looking for a lot more volunteers this year, so not just to sit at the booth like we have before, but to have a booth there, but also to help with other tasks too, if people want to help with garbage collection or serving food or whatever it might be, there's lots of volunteer opportunities, so they did ask that we go out to the boards and commissions and ask if there's anybody that wants to volunteer.
When are the
To,
sign up sheets is when you need to have those?
so they just sent sign out sheets out, so we've got them and they've got a QR code that'll take you to a volunteer form to fill out, so I can get those sent out to you guys if anybody's interested in.
What's the date?
June, is it 15th, is that right?
Oh, boy.
No, so I think
22nd.
in a second. Volunteers won't need to be there that early. I think they're asking organizers and setup to be there 9 o'clock or so, but volunteers.
Like two, right?
I don't remember the
Yeah,
exact-
I think it's like a 10 to 2.
Yes.
There'll be food again, food vendors and.
Oh, we get
But-
and the watershed council next to each other.
Yeah, try to get them next to each other this year, so you can sit right between.
Yeah.
It's 11 to 2.
So, if you're interested, let me know, but I'll send that out to everybody and then you've got it. And like I say, if you know anybody else that might be interested, feel free to send it on too. Jerry, you mentioned Sand Island. I'm just gonna say I had a lot of the same concerns after hearing that, so not just you, but. And then also commission members, I think our last 3
Whatever you wanna take with
for a
you.
very short period of time, so I would just ask that those of you that are on the application committee, just make it a point to maybe just go over duties and responsibilities, and these are the kind of things we do, and this is what's expected. Because a lot of people, they kind of start and come to the first meeting and then they seem to be a little overwhelmed. I didn't know this is what it was, and I didn't know this is what I would be doing, so just, even if it's just a short little blurb about this is what it looks like, because you'll notice on a lot of the applications we get, people will check every box there. I'm interested in the Parks Commission, Library Board, they just want to volunteer, they want to help, so I think just make it a point to let them know this is what we're about and this is the kind of stuff that we do, so that people are sure it's something they want to get into.
Maybe we have in our job description, maybe have it, a little more detail.
But I was happy to see Nick's application, so yeah, I stuck around. Only other things, I think Dalton Lake, some of the signage that you see on there too, Howard, that Lynn's been working on, we've been working on that. She's got a new kiosk coming in that's gonna have some historical information and pictures down at Dalton Lake, so that's probably the next thing going down in that area, but other than that, I think that's all I've got. Anything you guys need, anything? No.
As far as Dalton Lake, Lynn has the 3 of us, we got that in our position. There's another bench going in down there and her bee house besides her sign. She's got quite a bit going on there. When we get to it.
About it.
No, thank you everybody for all that you do.
Thank you. Okay, discussion items, we've got 5 minutes.
Well, I went to the last city council meeting. Was here all night and once again, they did not talk about parks.
Really? You think it's because you're there?
Maybe, I think so. No, they had a full house. I was actually shocked when I walked in. It was packed.
Oh, that was the one with,
You were here.
yeah, all the, what you call it?
The people from Boise.
Boise.
Get over here. Rip you up.
Is there
It was an
any,
interesting meeting.
is there any word on code name Sprint?
Not yet. Until the 31st to let us know if you're still interested, so they keep hearing they suspect we'll hear back sooner than that, but so far, as far as I'm aware, nothing.
Code name Sprint. Shh,
So.
that's
I didn't
the
go negative
solar.
again, but after listening to Brandon say he had some concerns. So the city buys, this is really bad, the city buys the cabins and then it floods next year and they're all washed away.
Yeah, insurance. No, charity.
Well, if we,
On debt today too.
if they really insure the heck out of it, then.
I
it could
guess
be
they
a-
sure, it could be a win-win situation, couldn't it? Yeah.
Any other discussion items?
One quick one, I just hadn't, pointed out that, probably for next meeting.
Come on, Rick Jackson.
If there's one Knob Hill Nature Parks, more parties
Jackson, come on.
next.
Good.
But I think my report covered everything.
So I have a few things, 12 of them.
Jesus.
I'm kidding. Anything else?
4 minutes.
So glad you said you.
Anything else? All right, we're gonna call it a meeting. We're adjourned.
Well,